What up, brothers and sisters? It's day 38. Well, here we are once again. Always come crawling back, don't you? Just kidding. Yesterday, we had a conversation and we mentioned how sometimes it's a little tough to be a writer when it comes to your social life. At least it is if you have to have a job at the same time. That's kind of how that's going to have to be. If I was only a writer, I really don't know what it would be like. I doubt that'll ever happen. But what we wrote on that day, if you remember what I was talking about, they went to that little weird temple-y thing. Well, some crazy fucking shit happened. Every time, I always say this, I know, but sometimes it's almost like there's an ante and I keep upping it. Because I'm always like, yeah, like some crazy fucking happened, I didn't even plan it, and it went nuts, and now we're in a new spot. Well, that happened again, and it's even crazier than last time. I don't know what's going on half the time, it feels like. I don't know what to do about it. Sometimes even I'm like, we gotta just like, I don't know. Yesterday I wrote, I don't remember, I think 5 pages maybe? Something like that. I also ended at a good spot. I ended right where it's about to be, this insane fucking section that's reminiscent of a mistake I made in book 1. So, we'll see if we can get out of it this time. If not, we'll restart. But, something very interesting that I read that I want to show you. So, I read this book yesterday. It's called The House of the Titans and Other Poems. And it's by A.E. Russell. So, his name is George William Russell. And he's that Irish, a lot of different things. He's like an artist, kind of a poet, got into politics and stuff. You could use the word mystic with him, I believe. I believe he had connections with Gandhi and helped Gandhi, you know, do things. I don't know. There's a whole thing about this guy. He's not really well known so much as he should be. I wonder if it's because he's Irish. Now, this story blew my fucking mind. No one's talking about it because no one's fucking reading it. So I guess I'll do a little, you know, this is not a place to get a synopsis or a summary. I should not be the one to do that because if you watch my videos, you'll kind of see why. I don't really function that way. I'm not a very functional human being. Now, The House of the Titans is this story that he kind of created using his mystic ability to tap into what I'm considering the other realm. Like, he could kind of do that. He could navigate in and out of this place and from this to the next, kind of like very mystic, very shamanistic, whatever the fucking word you want to use, but most people don't want to believe in that shit, but I fucking do, right? There's a reason I found this motherfucker. Now, in that he created this story of the origin of these titans. And why was I interested? Well, the first time I discovered AE was when he made mention of his, you know, something from the other realm told him about this story he was making. Call it The Fall of the Aeon or something like that. And I'm like, and he went on to talk about it more, and I'm like, holy shit, that's what I channeled too, something about these Aeon. I don't know who they are. And all of a sudden I find out he writes a short story, or a poetry session, kind of little thingy, about Titans. And I was like, the Titans and the Aeons are the main 2 combatants in my book. I have to read this. And what do you fucking know? As I'm reading it, the more I'm like, holy fuck, this man's already laid the groundwork, and I never knew. Like, everything he wrote in this poem, how the Titans work, they were, you know, born from another place, they hung out there. You could see that it has this Christian element in it when it comes to, like, Paradise Lost. So it's like combining Paradise Lost with the Titans of the Greek mythology. And you can see that if you really wanted to look into it, but what I'm looking and seeing is how they lived in this other place. I don't remember exactly how, because that's where I stopped for a few days and then I picked it back up. but they needed to go into this world and kind of make it anew, you know, grow these beings and stuff like that. Like, well, that's what the fucking Titans did in my story. And then the longer they stayed there, the more they forgot about where they came before. And all of a sudden, the lead Titan is sitting there dreaming of planets and worlds that may never have existed. And they lost touch with themselves, and then they were becoming maddened by this world and stuff. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's exactly what mine's about, right? And it blew my mind. And so I kept reading, and they were met by this being who tried to commune to the lead Titan. He kept trying to, like, I want to talk to him, I want to talk to him. He's talking to this girl Titan, and she kept saying, like, you need to talk to him, man. He really wants to talk to you. He wants to hang out. And he kept turning him down, and he's like saying, you know, I am a poet, or, you know, I am this, I am that, tell him I am an artist of many arts and shit. Just tell him I'm something. And he finally greeted him, and this being helped them somehow with some sort of magical thing. I don't know if they traveled or if it was a mind travel, but he helped them see who they really were again. And then he turns out to be the All-Father, and the story kind of ended. It's a very short thing. It wasn't very long. It was like 30 to 40 pages long. And it's, you know, at least in this printing, and the printing's not very small, so it's also very narrow. So it's not a very long read at all. That made me think, like, okay, was he the Whisper? He had to have been. That's what the Whisper is. He's just trying to bring you back, and you're fighting him so hard. Saying all that, now, like I said, that was not a synopsis. You should not take that and be like, well, that's what it's about. He said, it's me. I think if you're interested in this book, if you want to know more about what I'm doing, I didn't really realize how much this man here did most of the groundwork for me. It blows my mind. I don't know what it was. I found this guy. There's a connection here. I'm flabbergasted by it. And there's not a shit ton about him. That's the crazy thing. If you go and search him on YouTube, you'll find things, but you're not going to find a fuck ton of information about this guy. It's so weird. It's so weird. And it's everything, man. I mean, like, his name, AE, which is Aeon, right? That was the weird thing with me, too, like AE. I was like, you know, because my name, it begins with an A and it ends with an E. I thought it was because of that I was fascinated with, oh, I want to put AE in all words. I like the AE. And then, you know, when I came up with these gods, I'm like, well, just call him Aeon. I like that, AE, because I wanted AE. It was no more complex than that. I didn't do research and like, the Aeon were a Gnostic thing about the fallen angels. Like, no, I didn't. I just liked AE together, and I'm like, well, I don't know what else to put after AE. How about ON? Aeon. That looks cool. Why the fuck not? And I did it, and I channeled that from another place. I know I did because I fucking remember doing it. And then I discovered, just like he did, that this is a real thing. And though it's Gnostic and people are afraid of Gnosticism for whatever fucking reason, it's led me here. Gnosticism has. And I found this writer, and I cannot suggest him more. Not only because he's an Irishman, because I don't think Irish people get enough credit for fucking anything in this world, but I believe this man is as much of a mystic as he claims to be, because some of the things he talks about... Let's get it real quick. You remember how I told you about discovering this book and how it kind of came serendipitously, you know? I didn't plan it. The guy told me. I told it. It's called Finding a Candle of Vision. Fucking watch that one. This man's collection of poems, and it's kind of a retrospective, and him talking about different things like dreams, imagination, the architects of dreams, intuition, the language of the gods, memory of spirit, memory of earth, the many colored lands, and all that shit. Finding this really opened up a door in my mind, because in book 2, this is the kind of exploration we're going to be taking. We're going to be taking a lot more of a cerebral exploration. But now finding more of his work, I'm just absolutely astounded by this human being who existed and who is quietly guiding me from the other realm. You know what I mean? It blows my goddamn mind. It's just, I can't help but feel that way. He's that missing piece that was needed. There, in this story here, it's because it's my part of it, it's really focused around Eris and his journey to becoming some great thing. Like, what we could just say prophetic, kind of chosen one-y kind of vibes. That is the journey in which I'm taking. There's this simultaneous thing going on as well of the world. So like the other two guys, they have like their countries and there's politics and shit going on, and one of them's gonna try to take over the world, and the other one's falling away from it. So I have to kind of also like take myself out of my Eris thingy and go, okay, let's go over here real quick and talk about trade wars and all this shit that I don't feel matters. And it's like I have to do all that stuff, right? And I come over there and that needs work. And we should talk about that more in a later video, because I have some things that are going to start happening that I need to happen, because the world's not where I want it to be in any way whatsoever. Because again, I neglected it. I was too busy working with Eris. You know, the point of the book. But we'll go back to this stuff. I never really knew how much poetry and I would say personal stories are what I was craving, because I like history, and so I love ancient history. And then I found Diodorus Siculus, and a long time ago he wrote the history of the world, at least as much as he could gather together with him and all his scribes and shit. And it's very historical, as you would imagine. Some 60 states distant from the city of Panera is the Temple of Zeus, Tripolis, which lies out on a level plain and is especially admired for its antiquity, the coastlines of its construction, and its favorable situation. Thus the plain lying around the temple is thickly covered with trees of every kind. And like, he's just talking like that, like, and then this happened, and then this guy walked with this army and invaded these people. Like, you know, it's great and all if you want to know the history, but it's not great if you want to know the story. But that's what I was lacking, and I didn't know that. I was sitting here, you know, really wanting a personal story, and I didn't have it. And so discovering this man's work, this is the mysticism I've been looking for. This is that very thing that's been gone from my life that I've been needing when it comes to the mystical elements of what I'm working on. Because I never really had a spirit guide, we'll say, or some sort of shaman or druid to kind of like show you the way. Like, okay, I'm gonna help you interpret the dreams you're having. I'm gonna help you fucking navigate this world, right? Something that we don't have anymore in our society. Someone that's helping you with whatever information's bombarding you from another realm. They're here to help. Well, I don't have that. So what I did find was this guy, and he's long dead, and he mused his muses, and he talked about everything he wanted to talk about, and I found it. And so he left behind kind of this legacy. I mean, look at that, the Celtic cosmology, sorry. It's been the guide from the other realm that I've been looking for. Both of these have. What does that mean? Well, that obviously means it's going to be how Eris is aided. Because in Eris's journey, when he's going forward into this whole unknown, this big spectrum of like, okay, like, you're going to be this kind of, like, let's just use some analogies to simplify it. You're going to be this powerful wizard, man. Like, you're going to fucking help people. It's like, okay, who's going to help me be that? And they're like, well, no. They're all gone now. So it's like, he's like, then how am I part of this prophecy? And everyone's just like, I don't know, but you are. He discovers ancient books. These books were written by people that were following this very same prophecy many times before him. And some of them were the very king himself wrote in these books. So he has to infer what to be according to something written by a dead man centuries ago. And that's the only way he'll get guidance. From that point, there'll be an internal thing as well. But that seems to only be activated by some sort of strange magical forces. He's going to have to learn how to activate the guiding spirits within him naturally instead of synthetically from the environment around him. So that's kind of the thing he's going to be learning to quietly do. How do I turn on the ghosts inside of me to help guide me without it being an outside force? And how do I find the information to do what I'm meant to do? That's the whole point of everything we're working on. And it's, as I always say, everything I'm doing is mirrored in the book. So yeah, I found these books. The weird thing is, I planned Eris going to the ancient library, and I'm covering some ancient knowledge that's going to help him throughout the books a long time ago, way back in 2012, but I never thought it would be me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird like that. It's almost like half of the book is me pre-planning my own life, and then the other half is life planning inside the book for the character. It's really crazy like that. Like, I can't believe there are times where I'm sitting down working on this book, I'm like, dude, I come upon a thing, you know, I create a scenario, and I'm like, oh, I like this. This is great for the character. It's going to help him learn and grow. And I just think, that's clever of me. Meanwhile, a week and a half later, I'm looking through my old notes, and I found you planned this, you know, 10 years ago already. You're just doing it now, but you forgot that you planned it. And it's like, oh my God. So I'm always reminded that this book, as I've explained before, this weird fucking thing that's taken over my life, I planned it out, and it's just happening in its own time very naturally. It's crazy, man. I can't really explain how that feels. It's all becoming one big thing, and I'm watching it happen, and I'm just fucking astounded by it. Absolutely astounded. I can't believe that this is where we're going. I was reconfirmed by AE, George. I don't know what it is about Georges, but Georges are always the ones that guide me. From George Harrison to George William Russell to George Lucas. You know, I don't know. Georges are my guys, I guess. In fact, I think I should be a George. This is cool, man. I can't really recommend this man's work enough just to kind of get you into understanding just where we're going to go in the book. It's hand in hand. Like, as I read it, I'm just like, yep, okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I've been thinking too. This is crazy. Okay, fucking alright. Whatever, I guess. Part of me is like, it's already been done, why write the book anymore? This man's done it. He's already said everything that I was going to say. And the other part of me is like, no, we're going to echo it. We're going to continue this tradition. There's this thing that I've been quietly saying in my mind. Seemingly long ago, what the Irish people and where they descended from, they had a knowledge, from mystical knowledge to just kind of academia, if you will. They had this amazing knowledge that was lost. And it's quietly hiding in their stories, but it's hard to discern because we lost touch with a lot of things. You know, especially when the Irish were anglicized. Fucking bastards. Then the man like this will arise, and it was, I believe he was born in the 1860s, and he kind of did this from then to, I think he died in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I think he rekindled some sort of truth that was hiding in the Irish, let's just say DNA, the heritage. And it's coming back to the original stories of the Irish and their mythologies and stuff. And he just kind of laid this groundwork. What I think I'm doing and why I'm so happy is because I wanted to like rekindle that flame as well, even though I'm over here. That was a good spank. She didn't even react to it. I'm gonna listen back to that. Anyway. She didn't care. She was like, okay. Okay, yeah, no, she's like, and now can you pet me? What a weirdo. I'm sorry. So I'm getting reconfirmed by all this stuff, and it's reconfirmed in me based on what he's writing, and I'm just like, yes, I'm an American. I have Irish DNA in me. It's less than 50%. But I identify with it, and I want to hear those stories. I want to know. That's the fucking part of my heritage. I'm like, oh my God, finally I can hear some stories about this. And I fucking have an opportunity with this book, and I don't know why, but I just feel this kinship with this guy here and what I think he was rekindling. Maybe I could help in that too. At least take what I'm doing with my books and pass it over so people can really find the truth. I don't know. We'll find out. I hope so, at least. That would be kind of cool, because I think the Irish people, man, they're the greatest people in the world. So, with that, we should move on and get writing, because we got to figure out what the fuck we're doing.